Ready to start it off?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. All right, I'll start us off. All right, welcome everyone. I'm Bill Greeley. I'm NST's project coordinator. I'll be monitoring today's session and sharing helpful links in the chat. We'll start by addressing the questions submitted before Dome Talk and then tackle as many live questions from the chat as we can. Feel free to jump in and clarify your question if needed while we aim to keep those sessions to 1 hour. We often run over a bit, so feel free to leave early if needed. For those joining us for the first time, I'd like to introduce Dennis Johnson, our dome guru. Dennis has been helping customers design and build their dream domes for over 50 years and over 1,500 domes through Natural Spaces Domes. He's dedicated to creating the strongest, healthiest, and most eco-friendly domes possible, as long as the most beautiful one. Dennis, if you want to say hello.
Hello.
Okay, next we have Tessa Hill, Dennis's wife, president and co-owner. As demand for domes continues to grow, she's been leading our reorganization efforts to streamline the design process and better serve our customers. Tessa?
Hi, everybody. Glad you're here.
Okay, and then also joining us is Josh Binman, right next to me. Our operations manager. Josh has quickly become a dome expert, combining his construction experience, AutoCAD, and architectural training and shipping management to simplify the process for our customers. Josh?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Our dome complex in North Branch, Minnesota features our office dome, 3 model dome homes, a screen porch, 2 workshop domes, and the mini dome. Our option for small living spaces, we'd love to have you for a visit or a tour. Just contact us to schedule. All right, we'll start off with the first question. If you have any questions while we're going through this, you can raise your hand through that nifty feature. So the first question comes from Elaine Keith in Georgia, and he needs to understand whether foam or fiberglass insulation is best for the domes, and what are the pros and cons.
Okay. Well, foam is a little bit more expensive than fiberglass. Typically, when you're looking at this, you're going to be comparing costs, unless you need it to be a 2x8 only. You're probably going to want to do a hybrid situation where you do 3 to 4 inches of foam to get to a vapor barrier, and then do fiberglass from there on to get to the R value you want. Foam is going to get you an R7 per inch value, whereas fiberglass, you're going to get a 3.5 R value per inch of that fiberglass in your wall. So it's just how thick you want your wall to be, and then just costs. So, you know, you really gotta look at that, and it's kind of different for each person.
Also, I just want to mention that there is some issue with, they're studying the toxicity of the foam. So before you make a decision, investigate that a little bit and see if you can figure out, you know, there's a new one coming out that's supposed to be less toxic too. So check on that.
And there are a bunch of new insulation options, like hemp insulation is becoming more popular, and it's almost the same, if not slightly better than fiberglass as far as performance. It's right around 4 R per inch.
Okay. So the next question then comes from Brian. We are getting ready for spray foam and need to get the skylights prepped. How do you recommend framing and insulating around the interior of the skylights? Do you have any pictures showing this? Thanks. And we do have pictures right there.
Yeah. So it's kind of, you know, the applicator just has to be paying attention and just kind of know where, just use their experience to not, you know, overfill with foam. But regardless, once you foam it, you're going to have a little bit of trimming to just to keep that foam exactly where it should be, you know. I wouldn't go and build forms for it like concrete or anything like that to keep the foam exactly in there. I think you're just going to want to apply it carefully and then just trim it down so you don't have too much waste.
Right.
does it make sense to put like a, I don't know, a 2x4 or something up against where the plywood meets the window frame itself to try and kind of force them into getting in the right spot?
Yeah, you could definitely kind of use something, uh, like a piece of plywood scrap or something, I don't know, or a 2x4, just to kind of keep it away from spraying against the frame of the window itself. Even kind of like when you're painting, even like a piece of cardboard or something, you just kind of line up and then just kind of move as you go, so you're not spraying on it. I would just go slowly, because you don't want to move like whatever, like cardboard too quick before, while the foam is still expanding. You know,
Mhm.
it does expand pretty quickly. So.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, that works. Thank you.
Okay. So then the next question comes from Lawrence Wells. Is the kit considered modular, and can I use a USDA home loan?
The USDA home loan does a one-time payout. We do not finance, so we do look for people to go with a conventional construction loan for our domes. Just because we can't afford to buy all the stuff for you before you get a payment, a down payment in. So.
Okay. And then next one would be from Stanley, St. Louis, New York. I'm interested in building a structure later this spring. Need more info to ask pertinent questions. Okay.
Want me to answer that one?
Yeah,
Okay, well, we have, and I think, Bill, you could put a link online showing, also, in the chat box, I'm sorry, to get to this preliminary steps to designing and building a dome. There are a lot of steps, but basically it's pretty clear, it's pretty simple. And one thing we have initiated lately is that we're going to do a 15-minute consultation with you to explain some of the basic steps, but also to explain some of the payment steps and some of the, talk a little bit about the cost of a dome that you're considering. Because we're finding that, it's really important for you to have a good idea of how much you want to spend before you start in building this dome, instead of just keep, when you're talking to us in terms of doing your preliminary plans, adding this and adding that and not realizing how much you're adding in expense. This really allows us to say, you know what, this is going to be too high for your budget. Let's figure another way around this, because we don't want you to come up in the end having spent way more than you had planned. And so we're trying to figure out a way to solve that problem. And it really works best if you can know what you want to spend and we can know, and we can help you with it, because there's definitely ways to save money. So that's an important thing. And then after that consultation, we will have a consultation that will start to involve what kind of plans you want. And then we can get started on the drawings. So we've had to get a little more organized when you jump as much as we did in a period of a year for the demand for domes. And we're delighted to have it. It's just been really complicated for us. And then this man getting a stroke didn't help matters.
yeah.
So check this out, and if you have questions, just email us and just lay them out, just lay the questions out, and we'll help you, and certainly set up a consultation with us. Is that answering the question?
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think so.
Feel free to jump in, people, if you have things you want to add to that, or anything we say. Go ahead, and we want interaction here.
All right, the next one's from Jonathan, Georgia. Rock wall insulation, larger size, custom or other roofing, stone-like.
there's rock wool. It's used primarily for ground and, well, ground application. This is extremely dry. You can put it down and it won't absorb the moisture.
Yeah, and you wouldn't you could use that in your walls, your vertical walls and your floor, but you wouldn't use that for the roof. Certainly. And you probably wouldn't use it for your walls in most cases. I think is probably more expensive. But
Yeah, we tried cutting this material and it's hard to cut and it doesn't allow for the movement to get into the small cracks and crevices. You have yeah, there's a word that I can't come up with. You don't have the ability to get this into a triangle shape. You will be cutting pieces, and it's not a good way to do it. So for the dome triangles, don't do it.
yeah, we buy industrial rolls of our fiberglass here so that you can get they'll be 8 foot, we can get as tall as 96-inch tall rolls of 6-inch or 8-inch fiberglass. And that allows you to cut, the full triangle out of a piece instead of having small pieces in there that you have to try and manage, keep them from falling out of the ceiling as you're going. Still with these larger pieces where you get one full triangle, we still recommend taking like 2-inch strips of some sort of fabric, leftover fabric or something like deck armor or Tyvek, some stuff like that, and kind of staple it in there like a webbing, and you can hold your pieces on and your interior panels can go on right over that.
All right. Think that answered that. So next question comes from Michael Wells in Canada. I would welcome any thoughts or suggestions on realistic options of alternative roofing other than Ranky Shakes. So he doesn't want the traditional roof and he doesn't want Ranky Shakes. Which,
Yeah, so this is something we're still constantly looking at. I'm always looking at new products to see if they're going to be a viable option. I did look into the kind of paneled siding, metal siding, where it kind of goes on like well, like siding that's got little clips and they clip into each other. But we haven't gotten to test that yet. Ranky Shakes is one of our go-tos. We either usually do asphalt shingles or Ranky Shakes. But another option there is you could do a concrete spray. We have domes we've done where we used kind of a concrete fiberboard as the exterior paneling, and then they do a coating of concrete that you spray over and go over all the joints and everything, and it makes a fireproof structure as well as just a kind of more smoother look. There's also elastomeric roofing, but I don't really suggest using that anywhere where you have a high moisture content. So unless you're somewhere with a very dry climate, you probably don't want to use the elastomeric. And then for the Ranky Shakes, if you do go with that option, you also have to use Ice and Water Ultra which is a higher temp rating underlayment that can take the abuse from the added heat from the aluminum shingles reflecting all that sunlight. So
All right. Then the next question will come from Elena Russell, California. She's interested in adding skylights or windows. Yeah,
yeah.
quite a good number of those.
Well, we have, we do carry Marvin windows and we have Velux skylights for a more conventional roof skylight or for egress options. And then we have our custom triangle windows. We also do hex and pent windows and traps. We really can make a wide variety of very custom windows for whatever project you're working with. But we were wondering if you do have a dome or not, is typically putting them into a standard house, so more work. But I mean, you have trusses and stuff in your ways where we have open triangle with no internal framing that we're able to put these big units into. But if you want to reach out to us with some more information, just send us an email to nsd@naturalspacesdomes.com, or even to me directly at joshua@naturalspacesdomes.com, and I should be able to assist you further.
Did you have something?
Yeah, this dome you see here, you've got 7, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and more. It's a good for a panorama view. We finished the window trim around these windows using the 2x8 of the dome. And we eliminate the 2x4 of the dome so that there's not a thick wall. You don't have a lot of heat loss that you're saving, and you still want to insulate, as you saw in the picture before, of that foam insulation. You still want to insulate in between the windows.
I think Dennis wanted to say something else about the roofing.
Yeah, that was the underlayment you saw on a previous slide. We've got variety of, I'll wait till we've set, there he is. We've got a variety of house wraps and Tyvek, and this is a GAF product and a GCP product. And we want to know where you're building. We got to know where you're building. And we have 180 degrees temperature. That's a low temperature. And we supply HT, which is high temperature, ice and water shield. We supply that with our windows because we've learned that the flashing we sell with the windows, it gets very hot, and it gets well beyond 180 degrees.
We have a thermometer, a temperature gauge in our roof. We have temperature gauges all over this place, but that will tell us what the temperature is on the outside of the house. And then inside about 3 or 4 inches in or something like that. And then,
Yeah,
and then here, of course. And it's really amazing the difference and how much the insulation helps with heat too. So you really need to keep that in mind. It's not just for cold weather, it's for warm weather. And we're going to be having a lot more warm weather, as they've discovered in California.
Mhm.
And that, in terms of the roofing, I keep looking for more roofing that's made out of recycled products. So as soon as I really learn anything, we'll pass the word on. But also, and we're going to talk about it later, the spray on concrete is fire resistant, which is important too.
Back to it. Okay, so the next question comes from Mike Turner from Texas. What kind of challenges will I expect building a raised foundation versus a cement foundation?
Yeah, so I don't really see that one is more challenging than the other. I mean, if you're gonna do a raised foundation, you're gonna need a floor system, like a deck. Like you see here, where there's those posts holding up the floor above it. But, you know, you're gonna have probably similar cost. But with the raised foundation, you're gonna have a crawl space, and if you do the concrete, you won't. So it's just really, do you want to have a crawl space or not?
But also, if you want to have stained concrete floors, which is ultimately a lot less expensive than any other kind of flooring, it's more difficult to do it
Yeah.
that way.
Oh, that's a good point too.
And this type, I've been trying to explain up to people because I didn't understand it myself. You want to explain it, Dennis,
Yeah.
or whoever is going to do it?
This is a frost protected shallow footing. And it's about 3.5 feet tall. And 6 inches or 8 inches will stick out of the ground. That's a 2x8 that you see. And the dome sits on top of that. And its 2x8 structure blends very well with this. This gets backfilled. You can continue on the slide. And there's the foam. Now, by measuring down the surface below ground, you reach your frost protected footing, reaches that level by sticking out horizontally. So vertical dimension down and a horizontal dimension out equals your frost depth.
Yeah. And it typically is coming out, you know, 16 or 18 inches or so, something like that. It comes out from the wall. That and
And it's less expensive than all concrete. Considerably less expensive these days because concrete is so expensive.
yeah.
It's what we have here at Bear Creek.
There's a picture of Bear Creek.
Yeah.
There's
And so
Go ahead, Josh.
So you get the best kind of both worlds, because you save a ton of money on concrete, but you still get to have it. So you can do just you know, a much more efficient cost. You can still do radiant in-floor heating, and you can finish the concrete to avoid extra flooring costs, like Tessa was saying earlier. So you get the most bang for your buck doing a system like this.
back up one slide.
That's me doing it with one of our guys. And it's really pretty easy to do. I did it in gray stain at our cabin. So just don't try to do it with the radiant floor heat on because it dries way too fast.
Oh.
And
Yeah,
that-
yeah, that's a good point to bring up. But I'm sure it's not something anybody's thinking of when they go to paint it. So
Right.
yeah, all right.
So then the next one would be from Taylor, Texas. Interested in out-of-state consulting on rehabbing a dome house. It seems the original owner slash builder added on domes on top of each other. And we are unsure if it is rehabbable.
Yeah, we would love to help you out. It's hard to know exactly what your situation is with these domes, without kind of having some photos and, or something to kind of let us visually know what we're talking about. And, we certainly could help you out with some information on that, but just reach out to us with some more information, email nsd@naturalspacesdomes.com. Or you can also email me, Joshua@naturalspacesdomes.com. And I'd love to help you out with that.
Pictures do a wonderful thing.
Yeah, they make it a lot easier. We're talking with someone now who wants to put a dome over their old dome and then take down the old dome, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
It's in LA.
yeah, they want to keep their openings they had there, remove the whole dome shell up, and then put a whole new one back down over, hopefully landing exactly where the old one did. So.
Okay.
That's something we have done before. We can do it again.
Yeah. So we do some interesting fixes and there's a lot of different possibilities. So once we see what's going on, I'm sure we'll lead you the right way.
Okay. So then the next question's from Marilyn Windsor in Wisconsin. How is a dome usually financed?
Yeah. Well, so here's a list of potential lenders for mortgages that we know people personally have had success with. But yeah, it's the same as a typical home. For the most part, you just gotta go in. Every once in a while, you might run into somebody who doesn't know about domes, or maybe gives you a hard time, but don't let that get to you, because you'll call somebody else who has no issue, even at the same company sometimes. So it's just talking to the right person sometimes.
Bear Creek Dome is mortgaged with Wells Fargo. You just have to, talk to them a lot and make them realize it's really to their benefit to mortgage a dome.
Here's what we did. This is a sample of all the lenders of domes, page after page. We have quite a few domes on our website. And we can find some that are near you, and they can find out what they have or who they have for a lender.
So if you got trouble, just reach out to us and we'll help you out.
There's a one last listing on this page. It's a Skylight lender, and they loan particularly in 6 different states. They have to be certified, and that makes a world of difference. They will loan on domes.
Oh, skylights,
Skylights?
skylights, you said. That's what you just,
Skylights. Well, they'll loan on domes.
yeah, okay.
All right,
All right.
next one.
Okay, so then the next one is from Piper Lucas in California. And the question is, I am researching dome kit options for my client to find out foundation requirements, insulation type, hours to install, and equipment needed. I have built 2 Pacific domes before and would like to build a wooden one. I'm looking at your 2x8 option. And this one is about,
Okay. Yeah, so I'll start off and I'll say, since we got this nice photo here, you're located in 3C over there, zone 3C. And that means you need to have by code an R39. If you're doing all fiberglass, this is gonna be around 10 inches of fiberglass at 3.5 R per inch. Or you can do all spray foam at a 7 to get up to that. As long as cost is not an issue for you. The concrete, it's gonna be a 4-inch slab with a 16 to 18-inch perimeter, 8-inch depth. And then it takes about, I'd say about 3 days to get the frame put up and sheeted for the dome with a smaller team of 3 to 5 guys or something. For your average size domes, these bigger domes, obviously you're going to want bigger people or more people if you're trying to do it at the same speed. You've got more struts and more triangle panels, and you're talking in a 4 frequency or something like that. But this 3 frequency ones, I would say, 3 to 4 days you can get that done. As far as equipment, I mean, you can get by with the bare minimum, just extension ladders and scaffolding. You will need to rent a forklift or have some kind of machinery on hand to help unload the truck. Because you're gonna have pallets weighing, close to 3,000 pounds. For the heavier ones, they're not all that bad. But shingles are heavy, even though they don't look like that much on a little pallet. Yeah, that's about it. If you could, a nice lull forklift with a bucket, something like that, can come in handy. If you're willing to spend the money on it. But it's not needed.
You're given 4 hours to unload the truck.
Mhm.
And if you don't have a forklift, you can tell us, because you can unload the truck piece by piece. If you got enough people, you don't be scared away from a pallet weighing 3,000 pounds. That pallet has individual pieces. And
Yeah, you can take those off. We've done it for ourselves. When we ship internationally, we can't have wooden pallets and stuff, and we'll unload all of the shingles across the bottom of the shipping container. And it's really, you don't even notice because they don't weigh that much when you're carrying just one at a time. But yeah, you just let us know, and then we would tell the truck that to expect a longer time, or we just prepare for that if you had to unload by hand.
okay. So then the next question comes from Michael. Says, has the company ever built end walls on Quonset hut? I'm thinking a garage door and entrance on north end wall and more window area on the north end for viewing nature in a wooden setting. Your thoughts? And that kind of ties into the cement thing.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, had to find my spot. So
Remember it.
Well, domes are great, for fire protection. We've done one already in, I believe it was San Diego. And what they did, I kind of brought this up a little earlier, what they did is they used concrete fiberboard for their exterior panels. Then they covered all of the seams and they sprayed with a concrete spray over that. And that comes out with this very smooth design look here. To the dome, almost looks like an elastomeric, sleek look. But it has the benefit of being fireproof, extremely fireproof and fire resistant because it's concrete. It's a lot harder for anything to burn. They also had sloped areas of the house, as you can see against the soffit, to keep it so that embers could not cling to it. They will not stay on the dome. And then as the climate change keeps happening, clearly we have seen just recently in California how important looking into alternatives like this are. And it could make the world a difference for people if you're in a high risk fire area, or if fire is just a general concern for you.
This dome is in San Diego, right, Dennis?
Alpine, which
Okay,
is a
close to it.
suburb, yeah.
Yeah, and this man had his dome burned down before he did this. And then that was us, there was a picture of us there, out there visiting him after he had, done it. And so he made it very fireproof and it's beautiful.
The interesting thing was he was concerned with fire, but he was concerned with the dome. So he wanted a dome back in place. He just wanted it fireproofed. There's some inside shots. The inside is still wood. It's pine or spruce paneling.
Also, it's the way you landscape is important too in fireproofing things.
Yeah.
Yeah, you notice he's got the new regulations in California. This was done several years ago. That for the first 50 feet of radius around your dome, it's certain plants you can put. Then the next 50 feet, you'd have taller plants, and all of them are arid conditions.
Do you have
So-
that overhead shot, Bill? No, it was a big one that was that. There you go. Quite a few domes there.
Yeah. It's a very cool kind of complex they've got. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they're having fun.
Well, that's it for questions then that we have here. Are there any more questions?
Yeah, does anybody have any other questions or something maybe we missed over?
Don't be shy. Now's your chance to ask questions.
Hi, I have a question. It's
Sure.
Celia. I'm currently doing some training. I've enrolled in a full-time carpentry and home renovation course in hopes that I can someday do most of the building of my dome myself. And I'm wondering what particular skills I should focus on.
That is a
Are
good
you-
question.
Are you afraid of heights?
Well, somewhat, but I'll get over it.
Okay,
I'm afraid of power tools too, and I'm getting over that. So hopefully I can do the heights as well.
I think dome school is a good thing to come to because you can actually use the tools and be a part of building. So you can get a sense of what you need more practice on. Or what
Okay,
you're afraid of.
I did dome school years and years ago, but I wouldn't mind a refresher. Yeah,
Okay,
just to
Okay.
see, because I remember I was having, we did a lot with the, we screwed the frame together, and I think, Dennis, you had mentioned that normally you would use a nail gun, but you didn't want so many people in a confined space using nail guns. Is that right?
that's right.
Okay. So I'll work on the nail gun. I haven't done that yet. It hasn't come up yet in my program, so hopefully that one will be
nail gun is
okay.
great though.
You can use a screw. It's got a better holding power, but you got so many places that you can use a screw. I mean, a nail gun that you want to use it. There's 35,000 nails in the beach dome.
Oh, wow.
You'd hate to do that in screws.
Yeah. And how realistic is it to think that I can do it with one other person?
You can do it.
Oh, I know that the Trippies are doing that. There are two of them, but I've noticed you get guests sometimes, people to come and friends and things to come and help out. If you had to do it all, just the two of you.
It's doable. It would just take a lot longer. Knowing what I know now, I'd be a lot more efficient, but it's doable. Just as long as you have at least one strong guy, and I'm only so strong. But it's doable.
Okay,
Yeah,
good to
we
know.
had a woman put up a dome in North Carolina, not far from our
Yes.
place. And, they did a dome raising. If you can get a gang of people, we're revamping the website because it's not totally clear, but we were going to be doing Zoom raisings. And also we are going to, allow people to hire one of our people as a supervisor to come out and watch, not necessarily participate if you want. But I think what we do is we let everyone know that there's a dome going on, what the date will be. And there's often people from this group that want to come and try to help put up a dome. Where are you located?
And well, I'll be building in Halliburton in Ontario, Canada.
Okay. So we have a lot of interested Canadian domesters. And, I just think you could, promote it and then get your friends. Someone in Montana was laughing and telling us that they really should charge to have them come help. There's a great deal of enthusiasm. So you just have to provide the food and it ends up being quite an experience. And then if you need help with the Zoom raising, we're here to help and recommend. It's kind of a good idea to have Dennis or Josh look at what you're doing right at the very beginning to make sure everything is right. And then every, half hour or hour or so, check in again and check to make sure things are going the right way and help you if there's a problem.
One of the criteria for the way that this goes together is the orientation of the bolt in relation to the web on the round hub. I use the term hub and strut. And you notice that this has two holes that are larger than the third. Third one is down, except in the space that he's in, he is in the pentagon shape, standing, and that's the middle of the pentagon. You have a strut that goes up vertically.
Mhm.
That's the only criteria. And you turn the hub upside down or sideways, whatever fits to with the hole being open up straight. So
That's the
Okay.
kind of thing we can help you with when you start out, if you're having problems.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I will probably I could really benefit from coming back to Dome School just to sort of refresh because it was a number of years ago and just to sort of reorient myself to
Sure.
exactly how you pound those pegs and how everything sort of is supported as you're working.
yep.
And things have changed slightly. The science has changed a little bit since then, and how Dennis has redesigned something to work easier or better. That's changed, so that would be another reason to come back.
Okay.
And
Oh, I
it's-
did have one other question about the foundation and the anchor bolts. If I did a concrete slab, I think I heard, maybe it was Brian and Michelle, maybe it was on your channel, that you're not supposed to anchor you give us the walls, correct? And we put them in place, like the riser walls, and then we start building the frame, but you're not supposed to anchor them before the frame is finished. Is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay, so I'd need to actually drill into the concrete
Huh.
and epoxy them in. Is that what you do after the fact?
Well, there's a new system that uses Titan anchor bolts. They're called Titan, Titen. They screw into the concrete. You drill a hole first, and to do that, you have to rent or buy a powerful drill. So it's really easy. And bolt goes in and stays there. It's a system produced by Simpson Strong Tie.
Simpson, okay.
Again, if you have questions about what's the proper tools and equipment, that's something we can do on a consultation.
Okay.
And we've been known to ship some tools internationally because they've been cheaper to buy here when people request it. So put it
Okay.
in the shipment.
All
And,
right. Thank you very much.
well, I think that it's still we charge
What?
half price.
Oh, we charge half
Yeah.
price for the
Yeah, it's half price for returning a can.
Okay. Thanks for return.
All right. Is anyone out there that wants to ask us anything at this point? We're actually ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. Rare.
Anything in the chat?
Yeah, I've been kind of answering those as they come here.
Anything that would be helpful to other people? Any
Mm.
questions, Josh, that would be good for everyone?
Yeah, I'm kind of reading back through them real quick here. Nothing. No, I don't think so. It was more just questions about like the concrete domes and
Mhm.
stuff.
Okay. All right, well then, I guess that's it for the month of January. And we're going on to February. We'll see you then. And don't forget to send in questions for the talk. It's helpful to everyone. It's helpful to sit and listen to. So, and my big thing that I say every time is build a dome big enough that you can walk in. If you can do it or design it, because I love walking in my dome. I don't have to go out in the ice and cold and fall.
Yeah,
So I talked to somebody on the phone, you know, people all over the country, friends I have, and I walk and talk and I get my 10,000 steps in that way. So in the summer, if I can go out, then it's a whole different story, but keep that in mind. All right. Happy dome dreaming, and just let us know if you have questions.
all right,
Thanks, everyone.
thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you all.
Bill and Josh.
Have a
Okay.
great night, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.